Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Cowboys Beat Podcast for August 3rd, 2024. And on today's episode, we're going to be going over Cowboys training camp day 8. We didn't go over day 7 because it was I think they call it a live practice, which means that they were doing like a live game. So they didn't really have anybody in attendance. It was pretty much a walkthrough game. So that's why we didn't cover it. But before we get into the video, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. And without further ado, let's get into the episode. All right, so as we always do, we go over the practice notes from the one, the only Kyle Yeomans, one of the best in the business, not even just exclusive to just covering the Cowboys, just in general. This guy is awesome. I love going over his analysis, and that's why I'm always reading his practice notes on here, because I have a tremendous amount of respect for this gentleman. So, hashtag Cowboys Camp Practice 6. Tough physical practice, multiple players shaken up, but nothing major. Defensive front still trying to find physicality. Big day for Tolbert as a receiver. Hendershot as a blocker. Lance had another up and down day. Beebe rotated in at left guard. So I want to start off here with Cooper Beebe. So from what I've seen from Cooper Beebe so far, he's having trouble snapping the football. Everything he does after he snaps that football is exactly what you want your center or just offensive lineman on the interior to do in general. This guy has very clean technique, and if he can start snapping the ball properly, because there is a transition that he's making from guard to center, this guy is going to be completely fine. Now, do I think he's going to start day 1 for the Cowboys? I don't think that's going to be the case. And I think that's because the offensive line coach is married to the idea of not having multiple rookies on this offensive line. I think he's going to start Brock Hoffman day 1. But I'm not mad at that, because apparently Brock Hoffman's been having a good camp. This is the guy that's been really working his behind off all off season. And I want to see what Brock Hoffman has to offer here. I'm interested to see what he can do during the preseason, because if Brock Hoffman can be a legit starting center for you, then your offensive line for the next 5-10 years is set. Because if Zach Martin retires this year, you just move Cooper Beebe over to right guard, keep Brock Hoffman at center, and you have your starting offensive line for next year already set. It's a smooth transition from Zach Martin to Cooper Beebe. Not saying that there won't be a drop-off in play, because Zach Martin is one of the best to ever do it, but just saying that that could really help your offensive line for the future if Brock Hoffman is as good as the Cowboys front office and coaching staff believe that he is. And I'm not out on Brock Hoffman at all. I saw some good things from him last year. I'm just not as sold on Brock Hoffman as the Cowboys front office and coaching staff tries to tell me that I should be, right? I think there's a reason he was undrafted. There was a reason why he got cut and moved on from, but you know, look, it seems like he's been working really hard and he's been making strides in his game. So I can't knock that at all. I really can't. But again, you know, I still would favor Cooper Beebe if he can get those snaps down. Because here's the thing. I don't care if you're a rookie, if you're a second-year player, if you're a 10th-year player. I want the best guys on the field. I don't care if you're a veteran. I don't care your experience level. I really don't. If you're the best guy at that position, I want you on the field. I don't care what your experience level is. Now, I prefer the things that Cooper Beebe is going to give you over a Brock Hoffman. Brock Hoffman is more of a movement guy. I'm more of a power guy. I prefer, you know, a guy who's going to move people based off of how powerful he is. And that's what Cooper Beebe provides to you. But he's also a guy that moves pretty well as well. You know, I don't think that there is this drop off at all between how well Brock Hoffman moves and how well Cooper Beebe moves. But again, like if Brock Hoffman can be a guy, I'm completely fine with that. I worry about his physicality, especially going up against some of the interior defensive linemen that we're going to be going up against, right? We're going to be going up against Lawrence from the Giants, McNeil and Reeder from the Lions. I don't consider Jordan Davis to be good, so I'm not worried about that. But you get what I'm saying. There is a lot of good interior defensive linemen that we're going to be playing. Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, those guys over in Washington. So from that standpoint, I would prefer to have Cooper Beebe as the starting center. But again, I do understand the hesitancy to start 2 rookies. I understand that because this is a year where Mike McCarthy's job's on the line. That's fair. It's fair to say, hey, in a year that my job's on the line, I don't know if I want to start 2 rookies. My pushback to that would be, hey, Chuma Edoga is just not good. Regardless if he's a veteran or not, he's not good. He shouldn't start. So at the very least, you just should start Guyton. But I understand the hesitancy to start a guy in Cooper Beebe that's struggling with snapping the football at the current moment over a guy like Brock Hoffman, who has been in the system. He has played live game reps for you. You know the player that he is. You know the person that he is. And I'm talking about the player he is on the NFL level. You don't exactly know that from Cooper Beebe right now, even though I think Cooper Beebe will be a better player right off the bat. But I understand the hesitancy. It's not something that I say hey, you're kind of reaching here. You're dragging it a bit. No, I understand the hesitancy. There is something there. And maybe if this coaching staff was on deals beyond this year, maybe they would be a little more open to the idea of starting 2 rookies, but they're not. And I also don't understand it from this standpoint. If Cooper Beebe's the better player, he should just play. But so far, Brock Hoffman, it looks like he's been the better player. So I expect Brock Hoffman's going to be the starting center come week 1. I'm fine with it if he's the best center on this team. If he's not the best center on this team and Cooper Beebe has worked on his snaps and they look a lot better, I'm for Cooper Beebe starting. That I have no skin in this game. If Brock Hoffman ends up being the better player, that's all I care about. I'm like Sean Payton from that standpoint. Sean Payton, remember, he started Marcus Colston over Dante Stallworth. Marcus Colston was a 7th-round pick. Dante Stallworth was a 1st-round pick. Marcus Colston was the better player. He's like, this guy's the better player. So I don't care where you're drafted. I just want the best players on the field. If that's Brock Hoffman, that's Brock Hoffman. If that's Cooper Beebe, that's Cooper Beebe. So, yeah. Hopefully Cooper Beebe can clean up these snaps because, man, everything after just looks like teach tape there. So, yeah, we'll see how this plays out. So one guy that continues to perform at training camp is Jalen Tolbert. You see this guy consistently making plays whenever you scroll through social media and see the clips from training camp. I'm high on Jalen Tolbert this year. I thought that when Jalen Tolbert got an opportunity to make a play for the Cowboys last year, he made plays. He was big in that Philly game. There was that scramble drill they had, and Jalen Tolbert was able to find space, and Dak hit him down the field, had a touchdown in that game as well. He also had that play against Miami where it was a ball down the field. It was a 50-50 ball. It wasn't a great ball by Dak. He made the play. I'm high on Jalen Tolbert. I think that this guy can be a very solid number 3 wide receiver on this team. And I understand it's taken him a little more time to develop into the player that we hoped that he would be. And I'm not even saying that he'll be that this year. I have a lot of hope and a lot of optimism that he will be that. Just because the way he's carrying himself at training camp, he looks a lot more confident. That's something that I feel like he struggled with over the course of his career. Confidence was big for him. And now you just see him on the field. He looks a lot more confident. It's great to see. His game looks a lot better. He's improved year over year over year. And quite frankly, you love to see that. And this team needs another option outside of CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. And look, this wide receiver 3, he's going to play a lot. So, they are going to run a lot of 11 personnel this upcoming season. So you're going to see that wide receiver 3 on the field a lot. I think that that's an upgrade going from Michael Gallup as your wide receiver 3 to Jalen Tolbert. I personally thought Jalen Tolbert was your wide receiver 3 last year because he was just a better player than Gallup. So, yeah, I expect a big season from Jalen Tolbert. I expect around 700 yards and about 5 or 6 touchdowns. I don't think that's an unrealistic expectation for Jalen Tolbert. I'm high on the guy. I'm high on the player. And here's the thing, right? You have to believe in the person before you believe in the player. I believe in the person, and I believe in his talents as a football player. I just don't think that he's put them together yet. And I think you're going to see this season he's going to put them together and be a solid player. Remember, just because you're high on a guy doesn't mean that this guy's going to be a superstar for this team. I don't think Jalen Tolbert's going to be a superstar. I just think he's going to be a reliable number 3 receiver, which is, we saw that last year. He made plays. Dak trusted him. Remember that game against Philly in Philly, on that 4th down, Dak threw the ball to Jalen Tolbert. He didn't target Ferguson or Lamb, guys who were absolutely cooking the Eagles that game. He went after James Bradberry because he thought, hey, Jalen Tolbert versus James Bradbury. Oh, Jalen Tolbert's going to make that play. I trust in my guy. And that's something that you see from Dak. He trusts Jalen Tolbert. And, there was a big leap from Jalen Tolbert his rookie season to his second season. Like a big leap. Jalen Tolbert did not look like an NFL football player his rookie season, which is why they didn't dress him most games. And the games that they did dress him and he got his reps, it wasn't pretty. So, then you go to his second year, it's like, no, this guy can play in the NFL. Like he definitely has a role on a football team. To where this season, I feel like, no, this guy's ready to show the world that he can play and play the game at a level that maybe not a high level, but can he be an above average number 3 wide receiver? I absolutely believe he can be. Can he end up being a number 2 receiver? Maybe. I mean, Dak was talking about that in his interview. He said, you have to show them that you can be a number 1 receiver. Jalen Tolbert is not after being wide receiver 3. That's not his MO here. He wants to be the number 1 wide receiver on this team. And he's acting like he wants to be that. Now, he's not going to be that because that's CeeDee Lamb. But I like the confidence from him because confidence was missing in his game. And now that he has it, you just see him a lot more comfortable. He's making plays with whoever throws in the football, whether it be Lance or Dak. The catch radius looks good. The routes look good. Against pretty much whoever he goes up against, whether it be Bland, Kalen Carson, anybody, he looks good. So I'm very high on Jalen Tolbert. I think this year you're going to start to see why this guy was a 3rd-round pick and why the Cowboys were so high on him. And yeah, I'm very optimistic to just see this wide receiver room in general. I think there's a few guys here that can make a name for themselves, and I'm excited to see it. That's going to be it, though, for the episode, though, today, guys. Shorter episode today. I woke up late. I got to get to work here pretty soon. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next episode.